Another topic that is about the political formations that are emerging ahead of 2022 polls. We already know that Jubilee and ODM are working on a coalition. Senator Olekina will be telling us about that, but also there has been several voices. Let's listen to the Deputy President as he spoke about this over the weekend.
Ati sasa wanatuambia ati tupeleke Jubilee, ati tupeleke kwa kitendawili. Mimi nauliza nyinyi Nakuru, muko na masaa ya kwenda kufundishwa kitendawili? Hawa mahasla wako na time ya kufundishwa kitendawili?
So, Senator Olekina, you're from ODM. How is that coalition going?
Search me. Let me put it this way. Political formations are not new in Kenya. Since 1992, every time we go into an election, people, based on their interests, not ideology, come together and they just decide how they're going to rape the country and eat. It's their time to eat. It's illegal. Yeah, it's
to rape the country.
To rape the country. And for me, the key most important thing, and this is what I've been telling my people, is that in 2022, we need to be able to be on the table. Whichever formation is going to form the government, we need to come up with also our demands and say, as people who belong to this country, going back to what my dear sister was saying here, is that it is true. There are people who have been marginalized, you know, extremist measures for decades. And it is because of, one, sycophancy. Number two, it is because of these political formations. So for us now, we will put on the table what it is that we want. Anyone who wants to become president, come and sit down with us, tell us what you're going to do for our area, and then when we are pleased with what you're going to do for our area, we'll support you. But we are not just going to support anybody blindly. And I think that is a discussion we should have in Kenya. Because right now, if you look at the disparity, if you look at where development has been taken, you would be surprised. If you go to Kenya, I was actually really shocked. I was flying over the Aberdares forest, going to Samburu, and I could see a tarmac road leading all the way into the forest. Yet, in most parts of Narok County, there is no tarmac road. Where we produce 80% of all the wheat in this country, there's no tarmac road to help those farmers. So I think now it's about time that Kenyans should not be focusing on these political formations, because those political formations are formed based on personal interest, but not the interest of the country. People should be asking tough questions.
Is that the same for what is now forming ODM Jubilee coalition?
My point is very clear. We, as the people of Narok, the Maasai Nation, as the other people who have invited to come to our counties, what I would plead with my people is that we support the candidate who will be able to bring development to our people. Our time in this world is very limited, Sam. So we want to make sure that at the time when we're in power, or at the time when God has been gracious enough to give us life, we bring in development to our people, not just about lining our pockets, or making our bellies swell because of corruption. Nelson Mandela warned us about three things. One, bitterness, greed, and pride. And I think right now, all those who are on top should be very careful not to allow pride to take control of their lives. And those who are going up should not be greedy, trying to grab everything, because it will destroy the country. And those who are down should stop being bitter, as if someone made them, be poor. I think what we need to do is to come back and say, this is Kenya. Let us divide Kenya equally. Let us make sure that development goes to every part of Kenya. It is sad. If you sit down with people in the cabinet, they will tell you. They receive phone calls. They change the budgets. Why do we create budgets and we don't support them? And I think we need to educate our electorates more, that you should not be looking at political formations. Go back in history. In fact, the other day I was watching a clip by Governor Mandago, which I believe is happening in this country even today, that sometimes even students, They go to the universities and do courses which will not help them in their life. Or they are told you must go this way. You must become an electrical engineer. And then when they graduate, they can never it can never help them. Or you go there and you do mathematics. When you come out, it cannot help
Senator,
you.
if you're to use that prism that you're describing so eloquently, is there any political party or formation in the country that would respond to it?
Currently, none. And I'll tell you why. Because we all have constitutions in our political parties. We have laid down procedures on how we carry out nominations. They are never adhered to. You know, not in Jubilee, not in ODM, not in any political party. So I think currently, as we speak, the formation which will come, which will adhere to its own constitution, will be a first. We have not had that in Kenya. You know?
Okay.
So if people come together because they are tired of just sycophantizing, they are tired of just following people, let me finish this point, and come together because of ideology. You know, they are brought on the table. And I think those who are on the top there, put your pride aside, sit down with Kenyans and say, this is what I want to do for you. What is it that you want me to do for you? And in terms of even what he or she wants to do, that should be secondary. They should first of all listen to the people of Kenya, the people of Nyandarua, the people of Kikuyu. You know, the people of Narok should say, this is what we want.
Okay.
You know, so if you want our support, do this for us.
Senator Honorable Ishungu has been reading very interesting pages of the newspaper. He'll be telling us about that during the break. But when you look at the political framework, he says that none would respond to the interest of Kenya, yet an election is coming, another season that people have to choose who their leader becomes. What do you stand for on the side of politics that you come from?
I think the political formations largely that we are thinking about is what was Jubilee and what was NASA. But I think there are new political formations. The United Democratic Alliance is one such new formation that addresses some of those issues that we're talking about. If you look at the way UDA has been able to conduct its nominations in the by-elections that have been held in the recent past, and I'll give you the case example that is very close to me in Kiamba, and Kiamba at least there was only one candidate, so it was a direct nomination since there was no other candidate. But if you go to Muguga, if you go to Rurie, they were able to conduct very free and fair nominations to an extent that all those who lost in the nominations, after nominations, party nominations, went in to support the candidate that won. And that is what happened in Rurie, and the party went on to win that seat. That is what happened in Muguga. I am very optimistic that they will move ahead and win that seat, as they will also go ahead, God willing, and win the Kiamba seat. In terms of the ideology that the party espouses, look at the bottom-up approach that we have been talking about, and how that addresses the needs and aspirations of Kenyans. The pages of the paper I was reading, Gituku, I'm just shocked that this newspaper has 9 pages, full pages of auctions, people's properties being auctioned. And it just hit me that last night I had an engagement with an elderly man from Kabete constituency whose properties are being auctioned this week. Why is it being auctioned? Because the prisons department, the Department of Correctional Services, is holding his over 100 and something million shillings of goods and commodities that he supplied to the prisons department. But the gentleman, and he's a very elderly gentleman, is being auctioned. These are the 9 pages that you see here today, Gituku. If we are talking about political formations, we should be talking about political formations that inform Kenyans on how they get out of these dire economic times. And that is why I tell you, when you talk about the bottom-up economic approach, then it, in a way, addresses some of those concerns. Today, we are talking about political formations to do what? And if you played back the earlier clip, the Deputy President spoke before that, I think the week before he spoke last week in Nakuru, he challenged those that who are coming together to form political formations to compete with him. Because somebody actually went to the extent of saying that we must come together and unite to defeat Ruto. And he told them, please, before you unite and form your ethnic and personality-based formations, political formations, to pursue your political interests, remember there are Kenyans behind you. First, have an agenda, have a vision of what you want to do, and sell that to Kenyans. And that is where we should be driving
Honorable
our
Shuma,
politics
if
to.
UDA
A
were to
situation
win
where all our
the
political
election,
formations, Gituku,
right,
are not based on this personality or this ethnic group coming together with this other ethnic group. Let us come together on the basis of an ideology and what we espouse and how that carries the aspirations of Kenyans. And that is what Ledama is telling you. If the people of Narok or the entire Marland cannot see somebody who's carrying their needs and aspirations of where they want to be, nobody should now marshal them to follow Ledama or Lekina into some political formation that will elevate Ledama or Lekina at the expense of the people. Because all these formations, that's what they want us to do.
Yet he feels that no political formation in the country addresses those questions. And that's what I'm asking you. If UDA were to win the election, if it's in 2022, what are the 3 key steps that you'll take to ensure that the current situation that you're in is resolved?
I think top on those, Gituku, is the economic agenda. And I think if you have listened both to the Deputy President and those of us who believe in that cause of a bottom-up economic approach, that we must remodel how we organize our economic model, that we must start building our economy by empowering the people from the bottom of the pyramid. That way you'll be able, 1, to put money back into the people's pockets, and 2, also put back money into government coffers to be able to build the roads that Ledama Olakina is talking about in Narok, to wheat farms, to our potato farms in Kikuyu, or to Dagoretti market where we are getting wheat from.
In loans, in subsidies?
Not in loans. The moment you're able to empower, today we are talking about close to 17 to 18 million Kenyans who are in their most productive age, between the ages of 25 to about 40 years, who are out of employment. Those today are dependents.
So how do you make
on
them
the few
employed?
On the few that are working. You do not need to get them into formal employment, Gituku. And that is what the bottom-up economic approach is about. You only need to ensure that you inject adequate resources at the bottom of the pyramid to be able to get people to access even money. Today, you're auctioning people because let me make the point. You asking me a question, then you asking me a question and you're not.
Model. No,
I am answering you on how to create those job opportunities.
You're creating those jobs, but how exactly? That has not been done since 2013 to now that the Jubilee administration.
It has not been done because you have based it on the trickle-down approach. We have built railways, we have built roads, as he says, to a forest. I don't know, maybe it was getting loggers and timber from the forest instead of conserving those forests. I don't know where that road is. I'll be keen to hear it from Ledama, what area that is. Be able to check whether there is maybe tea or logging that goes on there.
Okay, but
the point is, Gituku, once you inject money to people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, empower them, allow them to access probably even cheap government money. And it's not something that you'll be remodeling, it's not something new. We started it in 2013. Remember the 6 billion shillings that was for the repeat election in 2013? And started what was Uwezo Fund. Uwezo Fund was giving loans up to about 100,000 shillings in groups of a minimum, I think, of 20 people. We are saying it is possible, Gituku, to have money allocated like we do for CDF, a fund like CDF, an economic empowerment fund like CDF. Allocate a minimum of 100 million shillings per constituency in this country. That will probably just cost you about 29 or 30 billion shillings. Have that money then, Kenyans to access it in terms of loans, cheap loans, that will be able to create employment in their local neighborhoods, because Gituku, who is unemployed, or Kimani Ichung'wah, who is unemployed, for instance, will be able to access between 100,000 and maybe 1 million shillings, right in Kikuyu, create an enterprise that will employ another 2-3 people. That is how you grow cottage industries. Those cottage industries employ people.
You've given me one, and I wish you had more time, but this is something that we still continue to pursue.
You need to get us here on those economic models.
No, I wish you were just able to...
On a day for that.
Okay. Honorable Elachi, so with all this happening, and you've seen several leaders trooping to State House, several meetings, if it's Kalonzo Musyoka, if it's Salah Mudavadi, Gideon Moi, and Raila Odinga, and all of them are saying we need to unite as we face 2022. ODM and Jubilee are forming that coalition. And I ask you the same question I asked Senator Ledama. Is any of this geared towards resolving the challenges that Kenyans face Or is it just to ascend to power, then figure out what to do with power?
First of all, in terms of formations, every transition you will find us forming these coalitions. Since 2002, when we started with the first one, and going forward. Now, after we have formed these coalitions and we have won, I would say when I look at former President Mwai Kibaki, in between, he had, I would say, a strategy, or he was very clear in what he wanted to achieve within his legacy. And sometimes it goes back to the individual person, by the way, that what did you want to see Kenya be?
Should it be the case, or it should be guided by the political party?
Because the political party is like a vehicle. When we enter there, you find we are forming coalitions. For what? Interest and winning. That's all. Let's not lie to Kenyans that we are forming a coalition to empower. Empower 2013, when we were coming in, TNA and URP, we said we are empowering. We're going to empower the youth. We're going to do this. And today we have all these funds we are talking about. We have the Uwezo Fund, we have the Women Fund, we have the Youth Fund. We have many other funds. In fact, you go to the tourism, Kenyans don't know, there's even a fund in the tourism sector where if you want to build a hotel and you want to empower yourself, you can just walk in there, it has a less percentage. You have many other funds that are very quiet within government, but they are there. Now, the next question will be, even as we empower and we give small and soft loans, our question should then again be, are we giving them an environment that will be able now to build them? Because even as the youth fund is there, the youth fund, by the way, a young youth today working at the youth fund can be able, if you are able to prove you have this business, you don't need to have those certificates or something from the bank. By the way, the youth fund can give you up to 10 million. It is there.
Yet it appears
Youth
not.
fund?
Yes.
No, you can only access.
No, youth fund. It is there. As an individual, when you are doing your business, and you prove to them, there's. Why am I saying this? I
Yet
am
it
saying
appears not to have worked.
I am saying this.
You need security. I think.
I am saying this.
No, it's okay. Honorable Elachi, the question I'm asking, look, you're saying, in your own words, that you came in 2013 says that you're going to empower the youth. Remember the digital government?
Yeah.
There are several men and women in this country who have fallen off the youth bracket, and they have not lived to see the fruits of what you promised.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying, when you are forming these formations going forward, don't come and tell Kenyans again the same story. You know, here is where I come black and white. When somebody says, I speak my mind when it's like this. And when the government, we are doing wrong, I say we are doing wrong. So
is
there
anyone to be trusted? And are you helpless? Because you've been in government since 2013.
We are not helpless. We are not helpless. We need to ask ourselves. And that is where now we have to be responsible. All of us who believed in Jubilee and who came and told Kenyans, Jubilee can do this, is that, one, have we created more awareness in ensuring? Because I know the Uwezo Fund, it's doing well with our Heshimiwas. You go to the ground, you'll find women taking Uwezo Fund. You go to the ground, you'll find. It's even in our ministry, and I can bring you the records here, the groups that have enjoyed. But then let us now come to the youth bracket. Have we used our awareness properly to give youth and tell them, this fund can support you this way and this way? And more importantly, I know all of them, if you go on the ground, if you're not a Mheshimiwa, again, you'll have a political issue because Mheshimiwa will feel, you've come in my ground, you're giving this. So again, I'll go back and say, it is Mheshimiwa to take this and go and give it to his people, or else I can go to the ground.
Honorable Elachi, I want to close because we're just 2 minutes to
let me finish.
Quickly, please.
So what I'm just saying, in the formations that are coming forward, can we be honest to Kenyans? I agree with Senator Lindama, one thing. Every region in this country, 2022, and I'm telling the regions, see, you must ask the person who is coming to ask to be a presidential candidate, what is it for us on the table? Have the interest of your region. Have the interest of your county. But don't just come into a formation and then in the next thing you'll start crying, oh, our people are not on that table. Oh, this.
Okay.
And don't allow someone to come and say, sisi tutaweza kubadilisha hii. No, it is you to know how you'll stand with your people to change what is happening in
Gituku,
the country.
this is a government functionary who is serving in a ministry where those funds are in.
Yes,
the youth
and I'll
fund,
bring the records
women
here to
fund,
show you.
Women fund. But she's here telling you that we have not created enough awareness. Who are you telling? It is you who should be creating that awareness. You should be spending more time creating that awareness other than going around the country inciting people along ethnicity and around BBI issues. That is what you should be doing.
Well,
as much as you're holding illegal offices,
Mahesh,
these class offices are illegal, Gituku.
Mahesh,
But at least for the time that you're enjoying
I
a
think
salary from the
the
Kenyan
challenge
public,
is clear.
serve them.
you are
Don't
also
lament on TV.
enjoying. Mahesh.
What's your response to that?
No,
Honorable
Mohesh
Elachi?
She
should
can't be
know very
lamenting on
well.
TV and she's
She's
being
not
paid.
serving Kikuyu people free. You're being, you serve and you're paid by taxpayers as I am. So for you to stand here and tell me how, no, we are all in government. Whether you are in parliament, you are receiving taxpayers' money.
Sam,
Okay,
Sam, can I just summarize
Senator
it
Lekina,
this
I
way?
want you to close this because you're out of
Yes.
time. But specifically, how do you ensure that, yes, we listen to the leaders, but you know what happens when the election is called? The euphoria carries the day. So how do you ensure that, yes, you listen to the promises, but also ensure that you're not falling into the handout economy of what may have been for several years now?
I think it is important for the electorates to understand that these political formations are less formal. People come together to be able to compact a common threat, and it is not like a covenant. So there's no way they will be able to deliver. It's a temporary arrangement for them to be able to achieve what they want. So the question should be, are Kenyans not tired enough of being poor? Are Kenyans not tired enough of being hungry? Let me tell you, I came into this studio today at 5 a.m. when I drove from my home. And I can tell you, before, at 5 a.m., you will see Wadosis driving their cars to the office. Now, it is people who can no longer afford to pay for bus fare. They are the ones who are walking all the way from Mountain View, going all the way to industrial area to be able, or even to Kikuyu sometime. So the issue is this political formation, we are sick and tired of you. You know, what we want is basically for the poor, for the Kenyan electoral to say, we will support the ideas. You bring your ideology. And I think this is why I say sometimes certain things are blessing in disguise. I think Corona has become a blessing in disguise. I want to appeal to Kenyans not to go to these political rallies because look at what happened. Look at what happened in Kisumu. You know, right now, Kisumu people are dying because after, was it Madaraka Day or what was it? You know, look at what happens in Nairobi every time. You wait and see what will happen in Naivasha. You know, I think we need to be very serious about what we're doing. And this is why I'm really bitter about this health ministry being led by, you know, I cannot say that on TV. I'll say that in parliament. But I think we need to go back and ensure that we do not be blinded by temporary marriages. We need to be thinking of a covenant. We need to think of a political formation which will have a covenant. It's signed. You know, you sign. You know, it's like now if you sign a covenant with God, God will respect that covenant. You know? So Kenyans out there should be saying, it is about time that these politicians respect our covenant. It is about time that when they come in, let them not tell us it is this political formation or this political formation. It is, what is it that you guys want?
All right. All right. I want us to take a look at the feedback that you've been sharing with us via Twitter. Citizen TV Kenya, Sam Gituku, the hashtag to use is Debrek. The first one here is from, who is it this morning? Jacob Abere, Debrek. 2022 elections, Ziko Shida. Chief shareholder, who is a voter, is not prepared. Civil education or civic education is behind calendar. New voter registration is late. Register is not updated. And lastly, electoral laws aren't proper. Chances 2022 delayed 95%. Only politicians are prepared. Is that so? Are they also prepared?
They are not. They are still trying to unite against somebody.
Okay. Well, Brian Were, how is it possible to support a country without honoring its leadership? Obedience comes first. We begin by obeying our leaders. That's where Keino Richie. Intimidating people to vote in a certain direction won't work. All Kenyans, whichever political affiliation they are in, pay taxes and demand equal government funding. Then H.E. Kidor, I like how my great friend Ledama is arguing on political formations. Political formations should be people's driven agenda and not for a few individuals at the top. They should swallow their ego and agree on what benefits their followers. It is a fact. Asante ni sana, Senator Ledama Lekina, good to see you again, and Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah as well, and CAS Beatrice Alachi, asante ni sana, and we hope that what we say here in studio we can practice on the ground, but also you, the viewer, make your decision. It's time that you understand what's going on in the country and make that determination when the time comes. My name is Sam Gituku. Bye for now. Up next is Sporty Monday with Willis Raburu and his team. Stay tuned.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana.
Wake me up at that
Asante
time again
sana.
next month.